keeping people, I don't know, competing for the best time or whatever to finish the game. I like the idea of a limited number of flags. I don't see why anyone would ever use all 40 flags, because I think there's 10 bombs on the full screen. Oh wow, that was random. If I try to find a bomb, let me just find a bomb. The one time I try not to play the game, I just crush it. I can't even. There's the bomb. Okay. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, it's like 25, 30, maybe 30. Okay, so having 40 flags seems a little bit overkill. We're probably going to go for just one difficulty mode at the beginning, and then as we iterate, so as we make more updates and stuff, we'll add an easy mode and a hard mode, but we'll just start on regular mode, we'll call it. So it's not really medium, it's not really medium, it's just the singular mode. And we want to make this work on a mobile device, so we probably...
Android and iOS?
We might use the same, we can use the same. Yeah, Android and iOS. And so we're thinking, we probably want to take the full screen. So it won't be the square, because that doesn't take full, use and consideration of the architecture that we have. So like having a full iPhone, it wouldn't make much sense to not use the whole iPhone screen to play the game. Yeah. Casey, you ready with the video chat?
I don't have the video chat up, but I do have it. Let me see. No one said anything. There's like a URL, isn't there? Pop out. I can throw it up.
Nice. Okay, so we'll start with some initial notes. So I'll take some notes from the asset side. Graphic assets, UX, UI, it's all really tied together. But usually the UX designer doesn't make the actual assets unless they have to, but that's in like bigger companies, bigger organizations that have people have actual graphic designers on board to do these types of things. And if they don't, you do it yourself. So graphic assets, UX, UI. What else am I responsible for? What do you think, Casey? What else do I have to do?
Are you coming up with like the name of the app? Because I'm like creating it right now.
Say what?
Do you want to come up with the name for the app? Because I'm about to create it.
Ooh, a name for the app. Wait, where are you making the name?
Like in Android Studio.
Are you already making on the? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I was just gonna do out like the logic and stuff, and then we can change the assets or whatever UI you come up with.
Gotcha. So a name. What do we want to name it? Super mega fun Minesweeper game XOXO. That's what people name apps these days. People will do anything in the App Store or Google Play Store to get somebody to download their game, including making ridiculous names like that genuinely do get people's attention more often than not.
I'll just call the project
names.
I'll call it Minesweeper Clown, and then like we can change the Play Store name at the end.
Okay. I want to do something fun with water. There's this whole pattern. Like I think it started with Angry Birds, where it's always like something with a Y, usually like an adjective and then some noun, like Angry Birds, Flappy Birds, my game, Foxy Birds, you know.
Oh.
Splashy Minds. I don't know about Splashy Minds.
I don't know about that. Yo, honestly, I don't know.
We'll come back to the name.
Yikes. That's not good. Whoops. Bro, I forgot to turn on Do Not Disturb, and someone just sent something about drugs in a group chat. And I accidentally clicked on it, which then opened it all up. Crap. Good thing no one watches this.
Are you already live on yours?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
I didn't create a thumbnail, so it's like there is someone watching, but it's like a thumbnail for an old live stream that I was gonna do. I wonder if I can change that.
I'm going to add the Google Hangouts.
Create highlight, change thumbnail. Yeah, that wants me to change my thumbnail, but then I have to like create one. I can't just like remove it.
Yeah. I don't know what to do for that. Can I make this bigger?
Bro, put your name in my title. It's gonna be.
Heck yeah.
Honestly, on this one, I don't really care too much. No one's gonna watch.
Yeah, that's fine. We are definitely still figuring this out. All right, so I'm gonna switch my video to show the Hangouts.
All right, I did make like I drew out like the idea for the game, like the logic behind it and everything. One item I think.
Okay, because I still don't understand how to play this game.
You don't have to understand the logic behind it because I can do that piece. But like when the user clicks on a button, there'll be like 3 different states that you have to worry about or design out, and that's either it's a number, it's a mine, it's nothing, and I guess they can also flag the item. So there's 4 different states. Right.
Okay, so it's a number, it's a mine, you flag it, or it's a. What was the 4th one?
It's just nothing. It's just blank.
Oh, or it's nothing. Okay.
So it's like you're like removing a tile, and then there's something underneath it, except for the flag piece where you're putting it on top because you assume that there's a mine underneath it. So you're like, hey, don't move this or you'll lose the game, basically. That is all you really need to know, and then there'll be a countdown timer of some sort. But I'll do all the logic for the actual game piece.
Countdown, yeah. Okay. It would be great for me to not have to touch any of the logic of the game. I'm not gonna lie, this game's kind of confusing.
I talked to some of the guys at work because.
Or maybe I just haven't played it enough times.
Yeah, it's a very confusing game. But like once you figure it out, it's like one of those games.
Okay. I am going to. What am I gonna do? So they can't currently hear you.
Yeah, they can.
on my stream.
Oh,
so
really?
I can't hear anything you're saying.
Oh, why? Because you have any
Because
headphones?
I'm listening on my headphones.
Ooh, that's smart.
Yeah.
I was thinking for like future ones.
Have them hear you.
Like it might be cool. Honestly, I don't know if they can actually hear you or not either. I'll have to like once it's all over, we can like go back and look at it. But like our audiences are kind of different, so like if we could mute each other when like we're talking, so that your fans don't hear me talking about programming, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, if we're doing different stuff at the moment.
Right.
Okay.
My thumbnail. People are gonna be so mad.
You finish your thumbnail?
Nope. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna wait. I was hoping to just pick like an image. You know what I'm talking
about? Okay. Yeah. It has to be a certain resolution.
I would access my files, but I don't have like a second monitor, so anyone's gonna see anything on my screen at that point, which is dangerous.
Yeah.
Gotta love live streams. Hopefully I didn't expose anybody. It was my it was my iMessage stuff, which I don't really use besides like group messages, and I just read them. I don't even interact with them usually.
Alright, so right now I'm writing the Google Doc, all the different things that I have to make designs for.
Okay.
So I have the bomb numbers, which have like varied colors, or some other way of distinguishing the numbers. I had an idea, but I'm gonna hold on to that for a minute. The flags, and then the different buttons, like the settings entry point from the game. Because the one that Google has, their Minesweeper, it's of course directly in the browser, so it doesn't have any settings per se.
Yeah.
It's just they have the little sound icon up there, and the little share button and the close, and you go back to doing whatever you were doing on the computer. But they don't actually allow you to. It's not a mobile app, so. Experience is going to be a lot different.
For sure.
In that aspect. What else do we need? Did I write start screen? Yeah, start screen. Like, so the home screen when they come into the game.
Mm-hmm.
Setting a screen. The scoreboard. So in my score bad. In my game, the one that I just made, there's a scoreboard on the home screen, so you can see. The thing that I liked for the iOS, at least, I don't think this is really a thing anymore with Google. I'm not 100% sure, but the Game Center scoreboard, the leaderboard, I think that was really nice. How we had the global, like you see how your score fares with everybody else who's ever played the game, basically.
Mm-hmm. So
we can have that on the start screen, and then we can have your high score also in the game, like I had in the Unity version of my game. Yes, then high score, revive, opportunity. That is different. That's something else that I was thinking. I'm doing like 2 things at once.
99 cents.
So if you hit a bomb, we might be able to do something with the maybe that a way, some way for the player to keep playing if they make a mistake, especially if they're really close to winning and there's like one bomb left and they accidentally hit it. there's some way for them to not lose all that progress and get completely destroyed and ruin their day.
Right, because
So,
that sucks.
did I still misspell opportunity wrong? Yeah, so that might be cool. I'm not sure what that might look like, but that is a way for us to look more at a business model too. Like in-app purchases, rewarded video ads. I thought of this interesting idea, not the idea that I thought about that I didn't say out loud 2 minutes ago, but the idea where you might have somebody in the same situation where they're about to lose and they have an opportunity to revive. I was thinking it could be interesting if we allow them to revive themselves with like random acts of kindness that we can control through a mobile app. So if there was like, to revive, you have to send this like message saying, hey, I'm just checking in, how have you been lately, to a random contact in your phone. Or like, you can choose who it goes to, but like getting people to actually like, I don't know, communicate outside the game while just trying to like reach these ends of furthering their play in the game. So it might be like, okay, text your mom, I love you, to revive and to not lose right now. I think that could be kind of interesting to think
That'd
about.
be cool. We could
ways
even
that we
get
could
some.
bring this game into real life. Yeah, I'm gonna write that down just in case I forget it. Purchases, random acts of kindness, rewarded video ads, etc. So hints / power-ups, that could be interesting. So in this Minesweeper game that Google has here, ooh, that was a nice one. There are no hints really besides the numbers. And so if you're on hard mode, you know, the squares just get smaller, it seems like. Or the squares get smaller, there's less tiles. So you have less help. Wow. So basically, I was thinking of a way to allow for hints. So maybe it's not that you lost, like you clicked the bomb and you shouldn't have, but maybe instead you just don't know what to do and you're afraid to make a move and you just sit there. So I was thinking of, how do we give them a hint? How do we show them a possible move, but also limit the capacity that they can just like get hints? Like it could be as simple as like 3 hints per play, or we could even do an in-app purchase thing, like buy a number of hints, watch videos for a number of hints. Same thing with the the random acts of kindness. Let me write this. Same as revive opportunity.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So they could earn hints. Power-ups, I don't know what kind of power-ups you might have in a Minesweeper game. Like, is there any power to be upped?
I mean, a power up could be like we just like flag mines for you or show you empty spots. That could work.
Yeah, it could be. One I just thought of is maybe there's a power up where it's like a chain reaction. So like maybe if you manage somehow, we would have to figure out how you get the power up. But if you get the power up and you click on any box, instead of having just one come up, it would have like 3 or 4 come up, 3 or 4 open spaces that aren't bombs, so that you can play quicker or, I don't know, feel special.
Yeah.
Because like I just played a few spaces and I clicked 4 different times and just 1 square came up. So if there was maybe a power up that let me get, dang it, I just lost.
Bro, the game's so
easy. Like 3 or 4 at a time, like maybe like a shotgun method where it shoots a bunch.
I said the game's so easy. I'm gonna pull up this game on here, so my fans.
I was on hard mode, and I'm also just guessing. Yeah. Ooh. Okay, so that could be a power up, maybe. So I'll write this in Google Doc. Power ups might be opening multiple squares at once. What else could be a power up? A power up might be what might they do? Just like opening multiple squares. Let's get some inspiration. If I'm playing this game and I don't know what to do, what do I want? What would help me? So this kind of goes back to one of the other things that we were talking about when we were talking about making this game. How we can have like a little added pressure on the, I guess it would be hard mode, but in the beginning it'd just be on the regular mode and it would just like be controlled by a timer. But having like a little shark, so we're underwater, and having the little shark like come through, and he would just like stop at a random mine for a certain number of seconds and like sniff it out, and then he's gonna bite out of it, quote unquote, take a bite. And then when he does that, then if it's a good mine, or if it's a mine, it'll blow up. Like if it's a bomb, it'll blow up. But if it's a good space, then it'll just open up the space as if you click it. And so basically this can kind of like add some confusion to the game, make it a little bit more challenging and a little less, I don't want to say boring, because I don't think it's super boring, but you could just sit here and just watch the timer go up forever and never play. So if there's a thing that's kind of like, all right, you need to hurry up, where the shark's coming, then the shark might cause you to, I don't know, force your hand. It might cause you to act a little quicker. And you can also get rid of the shark too by, we'll figure that out, but maybe you have to like flick him or something. You have to throw him out of the way. And so I say all this to say that we can have the opposite for a power up. We could add some like cute little seahorse or something come through, and it only finds the good spaces. So it'll just go straight to an open space and open it up for you. So then instead of a hint, it would just open up the space for free, and you don't have to earn it. Maybe you have to earn it. I'm not sure. So I'll write sea creature opening up a space automatically, and then I'll write challenges shark. Maybe it's an octopus. That can mess with either mines or open spaces. Should the shark thing be able to touch flags? That could be interesting. If you have any flags on the screen, the shark could go straight at the flag.
Yeah. The shark thing sounds like it might be a little hard. But maybe not.
Yeah.
We'd have to get like the views, like mine positions and stuff like that.
Yeah, we can also like... Yeah, we can control how often the shark comes. Like if you're on easy mode, the shark may come once every like minute, 45 seconds. But as you like increase the difficulty, or if you start just like waiting and not playing, then it's like, all right, time for a nudge, and then it sends the shark or something. But yeah, we can definitely make sure it's not too hard.
Yeah, we get difficulties
to manage with the whole shark idea. What else? What else do I want to write down? I have some of this written in my journal that I'm writing into this document. So we'll have to figure out how to interact with the shark. I'm thinking a swipe motion is probably the most intuitive to like fling it off the screen.
The shark?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you think for like a way to get rid of it?
Tapping it would be easiest. I don't know. So I know like iOS has like
right.
You can put like those behaviors on objects. I haven't messed around with that on Android, so I'm not sure how easy it is or whatnot. But it is possible. It'll just take more work, like everything.
It's right. So yeah, it would probably take more work to do that.
It might be really easy. Like iOS, it'd be pretty easy. But
yeah, if we don't end up doing the swipe, maybe like multiple taps, like you have to double tap on it or like triple tap even. Maybe 3 is too much. Maybe just double tap. Double tap the shark to get rid of it, and basically it's enough to like 1, take your focus off the game, and then 2, once the threat is gone, for you to like focus in more quickly and get the task done a little bit more efficiently or something like that.
Yeah. Another idea, instead of just like double tap.
It also makes high scores a lot harder to manage.
True. We could like pick a random number between 0 and 50, and that's like how many times you have to tap the shark in order for it to go away.
Interesting. Okay. So for everyone watching on my channel, Casey said we might be able to pick a random number between 0 and 50, and you have to tap the shark that many times for it to go away. So 50 is a lot.
That'd be hilarious.
Let's see. So, yeah, because my idea was like to have it pause, so it's not gonna like just go straight to the little box and then bite it or whatever, and straight away you're screwed. I imagine that it would have like some kind of number of seconds, I guess. So maybe 5 seconds. That's what I was thinking initially. 5 seconds. We might be able to change the amount of time too. That might be an option. But like, let's say 5 seconds. So it'll go to a random box. It'll wait for 5 seconds. And then after 5 seconds, it will open the box, and whatever happens, happens. And so the user would have to tap the shark as many times as whatever we end up deciding in that 5 seconds. So 50 taps in 5 seconds is not is not going to happen. We might get away with 5 taps.
5 works.
Let's see. Practicing on my phone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it is pretty fast, but we also don't want them to like break their phone, because I just tap my phone pretty hard, and if I'm like really trying to get this this sharky shark, what is that thing that I keep hearing about, this baby shark? I don't know why that just came to my mind, but anyway.
You haven't heard that yet?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maybe like a random number.
You haven't heard about that song yet? The baby shark.
I heard about it, but I didn't look into the baby shark deal. Baby shark yeah.
I love that
back
song.
in the day, they just brought that back. But yes, I'm thinking 10 at the most. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 could be the absolute most. And then, well, we could do a random number, 1 to 10, and that's the number of taps it takes. So between 1 and 10, you don't know how many taps it's going to take to get this shark out of the way. Maybe we show them on the top of each shark, or somewhere on or around. I'll figure out what the actual design, but show that number so they know when they see a shark, they'll know exactly how many times they have to type it or tap it.
Okay.
So let's see.
Yeah, I'm pretty chill on most of the ideas. So.
Random number. Say what?
I'm pretty chill on most of the ideas. So just tell me. And they'll be like, I'll complain to you.
Okay. The only thing I'm thinking about is, yeah. That's what I was thinking, because I was like, I'm not writing the code, so I'm getting really fancy with these ideas. As most designers do. When I do write the code, I'm very picky. Because I'm like, I don't want to have to like script that. So yeah, let me know if any of these are just like completely wild. I do have an idea for most of them, what they would take in at least Unity, but since you're doing an Android Studio and an iOS native, I don't have an idea of what it would take.
For what? Oh, like work-wise?
So like, yeah, to actually make any of these features or functionalities.
That's not hard.
Challenger, shark, octopus, alchemist, leader, mines, or open spaces. Random number 10, somewhere visible around the shark. Okay. All right. So that is everything I had wrote down previously. So where shall I start? I guess I'll start designing what I want this to look like. So make a little current task thing.
I'll be right back.
Figure. Okay.
Oh.
Screen.
OBS.
Make all this bigger. Oh. Thanks. But
Baby shark.
Wow, I'm using up a lot of processing power on my computer, and it's moving really slowly. Like I'm absolutely destroying the memory right now, but it's fine. It's temporary. All right, so what I want to do, I want to start with just the background, change fill to something more pleasant. Like, I like to use HSL for my colors, so we'll go to HSL sliders. We're going to desaturate this a little bit. Maybe a dull greenish color. All right, and do. Boom. So a little background, it's not white, so it's not going to burn your eyes. Save it as inspiration. So from the design side, when I'm designing these interfaces, everything's really an exploration at the beginning. It usually takes a little bit to solidify the idea you want, because you want to find the best solution. And in order to find the best solution, you have to consider all the best possibilities. So really all the possibilities. And yeah, with that, I like to make sure I explore all the different avenues that I can do in a time-sensitive manner, so I don't have to end up going back and changing things farther down the road. You want to kind of get everything done at the outset of the project. So, all right, got graphic tablet ready to go. Scribbling. All right, stabilizers off. Hardness, I'll turn the hardness down a little bit. All right, so the first thing I want to think about is, do I want to do portrait or landscape? So when I think about portrait or landscape mode for this actual product, it makes sense to actually use a phone. So if I'm playing this game, the game that we just saw, the Google version of it, what makes sense? What makes sense to actually display the full resolution that we want, display all the squares? So we know the squares are probably going to have to be arranged in a square grid instead of like a rectangular grid. Actually, Casey, what do you think about the actual layout of the screen? Because the one on Google is the only one I've tried. So I don't know the original. Is the original like a perfect square of all the spaces? Mm-hmm. Or can it be a rectangle or whatever?
It could be a rectangle. It just has to be, rectangle works.
Okay, a rectangle works. So we can make use of the full length or width of the screen.
Yeah, I mean, one thing to be cautious would be each device has different screen size.
Each device does have different screen sizes, yeah. Okay. How does the scaling work in the native code base?
Would
it scale based on the device? Like if you want to do 4x4, will that just scale for the devices? Or would you have to detect the device size before you go through and procedurally like generate the whole grid?
That scales based off device. So 4x4 on a tablet would just be a bigger version of 4x4 on the phone. You can change it and stuff. But,
okay.
So like we can have a different layout for horizontal versus vertical.
Okay. Right. Okay. Do you think it would make sense to allow them to use whichever they want, portrait or landscape mode? Or at least with the code, do you think that rotation is something we need to necessarily program in, or should we just pick one and that'll make it simpler?
Picking one would. Just because we would probably, like, if they accidentally rotated the device, we might have to calculate the mines.
Gotcha. Okay, so we'll pick one. One will be a lot easier to do. And the next thing I think to think of is the actual size of each square on the device. Because I know Apple recommends, I don't know for Google specifically, but I know Apple recommends a tap target of at least 44 square pixels. So 44 pixels wide, 44 pixels high. And I'm not sure, like I can't look at my phone and just say like, oh, this is 44 pixels here. But given the resolutions of each of them, 44 pixels.
That's not a ton.
I'm trying to do the math in my head of, yeah, it's not a lot.
So like 760.
Yeah, because with a game like this, you want to tap on, like you want to have precision in the squares that you tap on. So, I mean, it might be the case where you like tap on a square that you think you're tapping on, and then a little pop-up thing will show, and then it'll show like a shovel or a flag, which gives you that extra layer of confirmation that, oh, this is the one that I meant to tap on, versus like tapping one and then, you know, if you have like a big finger, you're trying to play with your thumb or something, you might end up tapping the one next to the one you want, and it might be a bomb and you lose your high score or whatever. So you want to prevent that from happening.
Yeah.
Prevent simple user error and kind of hedge toward having everything is based on how well they play the game, not the size of their thumb or the precision of their touch. You know, we want to, because on the computer version as well, it'll show the highlighted square instead of, like, we don't have the highlighted square because we don't have the hover in mobile. So we're trying to figure out how on mobile to do that. And I think the pop-up is probably the most effective that I can think of at the moment.
I mean, on Android, it has a cool, like, down click. So, like, if you tap on a button, it will, like, become darker. Mm-hmm. So you can, like, tell, like, I'm clicking on this one. So it's like, until you let go of your finger, it doesn't count as a click.
When you hold it down.
Yeah. So you can, like, swipe off.
Yeah. Question about that. So we're talking about holding down a button so that it shows, like, before you, like, you can confirm that that's what you're actually tapping on. Do you think this is a power user feature? It seems like the everyday person would not know to do this, even though I know to do this.
Yeah.
I also, like, make apps and stuff, and you also make apps. So I feel like grandma down the street, if she's trying to play some Minesweeper, she might not know to hold it down.
She won't, but she also won't have the highest score. She's gonna have a low score.
She won't have the highest score, you're right. She would get shut out pretty immediately. Okay. Well, I want grandma to win, so we gotta figure out what we're gonna do about that.
Yeah. That makes the game
portrait landscape. So
that makes it easier or harder programmatically. Like thinking through zooming or stuff like that is going to add a lot of complexity.
Yeah, zooming might be overkill because then we'd have to zoom on every cat.
Yeah. Like pinch to zoom, I've never messed around with that. That might not be that bad. It sounds horrible though. I don't know.
Yeah. Pinch to zoom. I can see how that would be very, I don't know, disorienting. It's like, yeah, for a mobile game, I wouldn't expect to be zooming to play like the basic parts of the game.
Right.
So, what am I gonna say? So that really might just limit the number of tiles that we can possibly have, which might be okay.
Yeah.
So we can end up having, or that would limit the number of tiles that we have on the small, so like the width of the device. But the height of the device, we have plenty of space that we could pretty much just move all of those squares that would have been on that side. We can just move them all to the bottom and reshuffle them and everything so that it looks clean. But
yeah, it could be like a scroll view. Like
I think
it continues to go down. That'd be pretty
right.
Cool.
Okay, so back to the question of portrait or landscape. I find that landscape mode would be awkward for this kind of game. Because if I'm in landscape mode, I'm probably expecting to use 2 thumbs, tilt, like rotate the device. Watch a movie, I don't know. I don't see too much reason to make this landscape. So
I don't either.
I'll say for now that we go with portrait mode. All right. So we're gonna get out the red. Shoot, this thing's kind of broken. Dang it. Oh, shoot, my graphic tablet's revolting.
Uh-oh.
All right, so we're gonna go portrait mode. Nice. All right, so back to the start screen. Why is it doing this? So now we're in portrait mode. Classic little device. May or may not have this little guy here. It might be more likely to have one of these guys. Yeah. So that's what I imagine an iPhone 10 is like. I don't own an iPhone 10, but so now that we're in portrait mode, we're thinking about the start screen. So this is after you come in the app, you see the little splash image that has like whatever game studio name, blah, blah, blah. Now you're on the start screen. So what can you do from the start screen? So you can play. Make this smaller. You can adjust the settings. What else? I like to have an about section. You get to tell them a little bit about the game, about the people who made the game. Ooh, Casey, what are your thoughts on a tutorial? Do you think a tutorial is necessary for this kind of game?
I think that the game's like a known thing. Like it might be overkill.
Okay. Okay.
Just since like
I was thinking that too.
Every computer's had it
tutorial
on Windows for like forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So play settings. Wow. Pretty good. Oh, title. Need title. Of course. And something I like to add to the home screen is an image. Something cool that makes you want to come to the home screen. Which hopefully makes you want to open the app again. Play. So play, settings about, title, image. All right, so I think that title and image can be combined into one element. So maybe we have some space reserved. This is a classic kind of architecture of a game screen, but you have like the intro image, and then you have title. And so that's like the cool little thing on the top of the screen. And then below it, you have play button. Didn't give myself enough space here, but let's make a little bit more space. And the key thing with designing screens and stuff like that is like in the beginning stages like this, you don't need to worry about how clean these images look. You're just trying to get the idea down, solidify the idea. Because if you're spending time making things look pixel perfect at this stage, when you don't even have the concrete idea, it's time wasted essentially, because you very well might go back and change that the next day or a few minutes later. So you want to make sure not to take too much time to pay attention to detail in this stage until you start working out these things and solidifying concepts, solidifying the layout that you want. So play button, I think settings and about should be smaller. So there are two ways in my mind that this can go. We could either have two small buttons like this, or if I replicate this on this side, I have to send this one again. Or what we can do here, let me add that back, is make both the play and, or not play, the settings and about buttons half size and in a horizontal row. So those two may work. Another option, of course, is making icons. I don't think either of these options are going to be used to the extent where we actually need to spend time making an icon, because in the settings, what's going to be in the settings screen? Turn off the music, turn on the music, turn off sound effects, turn on sound effects, reset score maybe, because it's an arcade game. It's not a story-based game, so there's not a lot of elements to it. There aren't a lot of settings. Yeah, so this is something that might change if we decide to add more things to settings, or if we decide to add more items to the start screen. But for now, we don't really need to worry about making icons, because again, that's time spent that really won't be adding that much to the game, I don't think, at this point in time. So if I had to choose one of these two, I would choose this one, and I would move this down a little bit. This whole section, I'd move all of that down a little bit so that I have enough spacing. I want to make sure I have enough spacing here. Actually, let me go ahead and use a different color. Wow, this thing is really spazzing on me.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it might be about time to get a new drawing tablet. But I want this change back to black again. All right, I'm just gonna have to draw in black. Yes, that's annoying. Okay, so spacing. We want spacing between the main image and the title and the buttons. So top half, you don't interact with. Bottom half also makes more sense to interact with, because the bottom half is where your thumbs are. If you're holding the phone, you're holding the phone like this, even with one hand, your thumbs aren't, naturally in the top half of the screen. So you can't really see my phone. But yeah, so like if you see yourself holding the phone, your thumbs are down here. So when you're designing, you kind of have this in mind, like, okay, where the user's hand is going to be, what's like a comfortable position to play a game like this. I would probably play with two hands, holding it with one and then tapping with my pointer finger. I think there's a generation of people who actually text like this, but yeah, this is how I would figure out if this makes sense to have the buttons on the bottom. And if I'm holding it with two hands, the button can be anywhere, but traditionally you're going to see the buttons on the lower half, because there are people who use one hand, and this is like the range of your thumb. This is like really stretching. If you can see that, that's really stretching. This over here is more comfortable. That's just where your thumb naturally rests. So it makes sense to go with option number 2 on the right. So yeah, thanks for playing option number 1. Did your part in the exploration. So now we're gonna erase him, and we're gonna redraw this one on the right. I'm gonna change the color. Hopefully it works this time. One more funny business. Okay, I see what's happening. A little more of that. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so right, we got our phone screen again. We'll keep the iPhone X model with a little line down here. So we have our main image combined with the title. So these actually might be one element, like this square that I'm drawing the marker for. That's just taking up this amount of space. This is where I'm saying it's going to go in the actual design. This square very well it may be the square, the image and the title versus the image by itself and then the title underneath. But just in case I decide not to go with that a little later, I'll put the title here. And then play button. Always want the play button to be the biggest thing on the home screen because that's where we want people going. That's where we want to direct attention. And then this is about. This is settings. So basically, everything else on the screen will be some kind of image element. So it might be, I don't know, a full screen image where the title is the only thing at the top. It might be a gradient or something, with the image occupying most of the attention. It might just be like a vignette of some sort. So it's like darkening the edges. And then so it really brings your eye into the main content here on the screen. Those are graphic decisions that I'll have to make at some later point in time. But basically, this is what I think makes sense for the start screen. I don't think there's anything else that needs to be on the screen. So that's it for that. I think I'll erase this first version. Second one's not much higher fidelity, but again, it doesn't need to be in this stage of ideation and design and development, all that kind of stuff. Because, like I just said, many of these things might change in the coming weeks. So no point in taking a lot of time to draw that in high fidelity now. So start screen, we have our play button, settings button, about button, title and image, which again may be one thing in the future. I think it makes sense for them to be one element, but it depends on what the title ends up being. If the title's short, we might separate it, but if the title's long, like super epic, mega Minesweeper, fun, underwater, then we'd want to put that in the element and make the text a little smaller. So I will, what am I going to do with this? I think that's it for that. So now what we're going to do is switch back over to our document. Cool. All right, so true behind the scenes game development. So now I figured out an idea for what I want for the home screen, start screen, and now I'm going to go ahead and add a strike through if I can find a strike through. I don't know where the strike through comes in Google Docs. Yeah. All right, so that's it for the first hour and a half. I feel like that's all I'm about to do today. What are you working on, Casey?
I'm working on some of the logic. for adding mines.
Okay. For adding mines. Okay. Cool. So I have a basic idea done for the home screen. What is the next thing I'm gonna do? I'm not gonna do it now because I'm probably gonna hop off in a second. But the next thing I would do, which I'll note here, is going to be, so I did the home screen. Shoot, I'll just replicate this and then do next tasks. So then I'm going to want to do sketch out screen, sketch settings screen. For everybody watching, you saw how quickly the sketching process worked. Now, if you're designing an app for users that provides a service, the process is going to be a little bit different because you're going to have product constraints such as whatever business model, whatever assets are coming from a different team. You're going to have to do like user research and things like that. Games are a lot simpler in some respects and then more complicated in other respects. But as you saw, it took maybe 10 minutes to go through possible iterations that came through my mind for the home screen. And there are plenty of other iterations that I could have explored, but I kind of crunched the numbers and kind of mentally went through them in my head and deemed that those probably weren't the best approach or the approach that I saw to be the best. And so, yeah, it took like 10 minutes to go through the first screen. So the next two screens I expect to be probably even easier. About screen is text and a back button to get back to the home screen. Settings screen is a back button to get back to the home screen. And then whatever settings, we'll have to figure out if we want to do the classic like switches, like on and off. If we need any sliders for like level of difficulty, stuff like that we could hide in the settings screen. So that might take a little bit more thought, but that's a bridge to cross to when we get to that. So after getting all these different UX things, this is the whole UX process. Also, I don't know if I mentioned that specifically, but after getting all those things solidified, then I'll probably hop into Figma. Figma is a free for personal use and whatever prototyping tool, and wireframing. And so I use that to wireframe my app ideas, the screens in both low and high fidelity, so that you can actually see what it'll look like on a real screen. And I won't be hand drawing it with the same fidelity level as I showed in this video. And so after I get all the different screens done, I can start looking at the actual assets that need to be made to make those things happen. I'll kind of prototype placeholders for all those things in Figma, and then I'll start to actually make the assets, import the assets into Figma so that I can put them all in place, and then everything starts to look like a real game. It doesn't do anything because Figma is just a wireframing software. It's just images. And then I can start to merge everything I've been doing with everything Casey's putting together on the coding side. And that's kind of how the design and development worlds mix together. The development usually comes at the end once we know what it'll look like. But if we have the details of what we want it to do in the first place, it's a little easier to start development on the things that won't change, like the logic of the game, which Casey's working on right now. And we'll pretty much be able to just combine everything that we're doing into one hopefully polished game in not a lot of time. So I think that's all I have for this video. Anything you wanted to add, Casey?
Nope. Are we gonna, when are we coming back? Next week? I'm down. I'm down whenever.
When are we coming back? So next week might work. Slight cameo.
Is it your mom?
I'll have to figure out with the Wi-Fi situation, because the Wi-Fi that I'm at right now, I won't be at next week. So might have to play that one by ear or record it beforehand. So it wouldn't be live, but it would just be like the same thing, just tossed out without the live tag on it. But I'd like to say next week, yeah.
Okay.
So we can probably do next Saturday as well, but it might just be regular recording rather than a live stream, depending on if I can figure out this Wi-Fi thing.
Okay. I mean, McDonald's has good Wi-Fi. I'm just kidding. Go to Starbucks.
Does McDonald's have good upload Wi-Fi?
Get yourself some Starbs and just chill there.
That's the thing I realized this week. Yeah, like trying to figure this out this week. I realized that download speed and upload speed are completely different. And so like the Wi-Fi I'm using now has really good download speed, but upload speed is why the video quality looks the way it looks right now. So if anybody actually got 71 minutes into this video, my apologies for the Wi-Fi quality. I'm trying to figure this out. But yeah, seems pretty cool. I enjoyed this first stream. It was pretty cool.
It's only gonna
Doing
get
what we
better.
normally do, but just not behind the scenes. Yeah, it's only gonna get better. Figure out everything. We're gonna figure out how to get music that doesn't get flagged for copyright violations. Get some background music going. What else? Oh, we got jokes next time. That's what we got. We got jokes. We didn't do any jokes this time.
We always got jokes. I got myself in trouble.
Always got jokes.
Joking too much.
Today we didn't have jokes.
Yeah, I gotta, what do you call it? Like, actually talk next time. I was just chilling, listening to you.
Oh yeah, I was just talking and you were like working.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all good though. Because we're not working on the same things right now, besides the beginning with the figuring out the features and stuff.
Right.
But honestly, that's how actual designer dev teams work. They don't talk the whole time they're working. So this live stream is kind of a different animal. As far as we know, it's never been done before. So pretty cool to be pioneers in this space.
We got it. Hey, if we're not the first, we're still up there.
We're the second. If we're not the first, we're the second.
We're the second. Or this just like no one likes this content and no one's gonna watch it. And that's why we've never seen it, because no one likes it.
It's also possible. That's also possible. But even if no one watches it, I mean, we're still actually making a game. So
yeah,
2 birds, 1 stone.
For sure. All right. Next week.
All right. I think that's it for me. I'm going to sign off.
Okay. Peace.
Next week, probably Saturday. May or may not be live. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see if I get this figured out. Cool.
Okie doke.
I will talk to you probably in a few days.
All right. Talk to you
Adios.
later. Peace. All right. For my stream next week, I'm gonna be working on creating some tests. One of the things with programming is, especially like without a UI, or not with a UI, just like complex like math algorithms and things like that. Tests really help to test, hence the name test. They test your logic. It's like make sure your use cases are met, and like the outcome of your functions is what you're expecting. And maybe down the road you accidentally change something that changes one of the 20 functions you've created. Tests help to solidify and at least bring confidence to the fact that your tests are passing and that your code is working as expected. So we'll hop into that. I might finish up some of this logic. Probably not. I'll probably only do this stuff on the stream. But you can kind of see where I'm going with this. Creating an array of arrays, adding empty objects or default object items to each item in the array. And then we're iterating through that with the number of mines and finding a random place in that array and putting the well, we haven't done it yet there. Down here we're changing that to a mine, and then once that's ran we should have we'll figure out logic, but we should have 6 mines, the default number of mines in that array. And then when we get the UI hooked up, whenever a user taps on one of those objects, it's going to check all of the objects around it and see if the user tapped on a mine. If it did, game over. If they didn't, then we're going to calculate each one of those squares around it to figure out how many mines that square touches, and that'll be the number that's placed on that square. So it's kind of complicated, not really, pretty straightforward and simple, but I've never done it, so we'll have to figure it out and see as it goes. We always think that things are easy before we get into them. So I'm gonna head out. I'll see you all next week on the live stream. Have a great week. Peace.